Hello, I'm Freya, and welcome to Wings of Wisdom, where spirituality and critical thoughts align to light your path. Together, we'll explore how philosophy and traditional wisdom can guide you to deeper and fuller well-being. Inhale. Exhale. Wings of Wisdom with Freya. So this episode, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics of all time, meditation, and why it didn't work for you and how you could possibly fix it. So I'll start with my own meditation journey. So I've been doing meditation on and off with the app called Headspace. I think a lot of people have heard of it for a few years. It's never a consistent thing, more of a whimsical kind of activity that I did. But after my spiritual awakening that I mentioned in my last episode, my body wanted to move in terms of yoga, and my mind wanted to move in terms of meditation. So I just kind of very naturally settled into this daily practice of meditation. And I started with a more mindful awareness kind of meditation, which is what Headspace offered. And then I moved into exploring the chakra systems. So I did chakra meditation and was kind of enhancing my own understanding of the chakra as well. So for those of you who don't know what chakra is, no worries, we'll talk about it. But basically it is, it came from originally from Hinduism, and it is a system of energy. So there are 7 energy centers along our spine. So we have 7 chakras, and each of them correspond to different aspects of our spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical well-being. So yeah, I'll save it for another time. I'm known to be a quite chill person who doesn't have much emotional kind of turbulences, also because I'm Moon Taurus. We'll talk more about moon sign later. I really appreciate what meditation did to my sense of being and sense of space. I think it helped me create more space between me as awareness, and me as emotions, feelings, thoughts, and everything that is more impermanent. And I think it helped me ground more in the kind of calmness, the peacefulness that the awareness could bring to you. Because I've gained so much from meditation, that's why I have been kind of advocating to all my friends. I held 10 sessions of online guided meditations last year. It was guided meditations on chakras and also on season of the year, like Pluto moving into Aquarius, winter solstice, etc. I really appreciated that journey because it also helped me deepen my practice. And now I do more sound meditation, which is a combination of guided meditation where I guide you through visualization, body scan, and different imageries to activate the energy of the chakras, and sound healing, which is using the frequency of sound objects, as you can see here. And these sound frequencies are scientifically proven to have an effect on our bodies, even on cellular levels. So combining those, have been finding it to be really effective, especially for people who are new to meditation. And there was one event that I did in a gallery space where one participant later told me that she was almost tripping. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a high compliment. So yeah, if you're interested, find me on social media and I'll post more future events on sound meditations. And I do have an event coming up on the summer solstice, which is June 21st. And me and my friend Sinead, who is a wonderful yoga teacher, we're going to do a summer solstice awakening event at 5:30 a.m. Yes, 5:30. If you're as crazy as us, come join our event. We have yoga, have tea ceremony, and we'll also have a sound bath. And that will take place in Hyde Park at 5:30 a.m. June 21st. Let me know if you're interested, and I will include a link to the event in the podcast introduction. Wings of Wisdom with Freya. So that's my personal meditation journey. And I want to talk a bit about how those experiences helped me to understand meditation. And alongside that, how I think people have gotten it wrong, which are sometimes the reason why meditation didn't work for them. So first of all, I do not like the idea, do not support the idea that meditation is emptying your mind. That is basically impossible. And also it is the wrong direction to go. I'd say your mind gradually might get emptier over time. It is a byproduct of meditation, and it is not the goal. It is a side effect, let's say, of practice. And sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. And that is okay. That is not the kind of criteria to judge whether your meditation was successful, quote unquote. For example, in the chakra systems, our brains, our third eye, the function of it is to produce thoughts. And the purpose of meditation is not to shut down those aspects, those normal functions that support our holistic being, but to balance the energy out. I know that a lot of us are very active here in the third eye, in the brain, in the logic and intellect, because of the overabundance of information that we have to deal with. So I think it makes sense to say, let's quiet the mind, quiet the third eye, and channel that overactive energy into other parts of the body, of the chakras, instead of saying, okay, let's just turn off the mind and empty the mind. That is not only unnecessary, but also just really impossible to do. You know, the Buddha was talking about the monkey mind. There's a metaphor of a monk with a monkey and an elephant, and then go search for it. It's really fun to watch. Someone made this kind of comic of how you have different stages of meditation where the monkey and elephant interact in different ways. And the monkey mind is basically when you started out, there's a classic ubiquitous reaction to meditation, being like, oh, my mind is so crazy, I can't quiet it down at all. And that is the monkey mind. And you know, the Buddha was talking about the monkey mind 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. But look at today. He hasn't even lived today with TikTok, AI, all the social media, all the databases that you have to work, all the laptop. So I think it'd probably be more than a monkey. It's so powerful. I think we should put less pressure on ourselves because of the amount of challenge and information that we have in our age. And meditation was already a practice. Like, it needs commitment, it needs consistency 2,000 years ago. And now we're just living in a totally different digital, overabundant age. I think we have to acknowledge that it is hard. It is really hard to meditate. And sometimes it's not for everyone, because we all have different nervous system. We might be neurodivergent, and that affects how we go into the experience, the neural and physiological experience of meditation. So I think we should put less pressure on ourselves. And also, pressure is the last thing we need in this time. If we just put more pressure on us to perform meditation well, that just totally betrays the purpose. And I also want to touch on another aspect of our current society that is different from, let's say, the time of the Buddha, which is capitalism and neoliberalism. And I think sometimes, as far as I can see, meditation and also yoga in the wellness industry often risk being a tool for productivity. And it is a tool that asks you to perform a certain wellness activity so that you can produce more and contribute to the capital that the capitalists hold. But instead, meditation should have been a very radical and transformative activity that could change how you view yourself, how you view the work you do, view the world. So I think it needs cautions to think of how we are using meditation and who it is actually serving, because it should be serving you instead of the company that you're working for. For me, I think the key to meditation is awareness. So imagine that your meditation process is looking at a candle and you're just observing that flame gets bigger, gets smaller, bigger, smaller. But at the same time, your awareness is actually that flame. Your awareness sometimes gets more focused, sometimes more dilute. And if you turn your head, if you move your awareness away, that candle just stops appearing in your life. So meditation really is to getting into that space, to understand that where you divert your energy, your awareness to, is your reality. And what that really helps is that your awareness doesn't change around the things that are external to you, that are changing all the time. Your awareness stays there. Like things could happen that you can't choose, but you can choose the way that you react to it. And I think meditation, at least in my own case, really gave me more space and more options to respond to things so that I make a conscious and aware response instead of immediate reaction that usually just, spirals down. I think that space is the key to our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, because that space is a buffer between your being and the rest of the world. And if you have that space, that buffer, you're forever safe. And you'll find that calmness, that strength to go into your daily life, do all the things you need to do, but still maintain a beautiful peace of mind. Wings of Wisdom with Freya. Now I'm going to talk a bit about the moon signs and why I combine meditation and moon signs in this podcast. So we usually know the sun signs. The sun signs are what we get when we ask people, oh, what is your sign? But I think oftentimes we're driven more actually by our moon signs than our sun signs. I'll have a separate podcast to talk about the big three in astrology, which is moon, sun, and rising, and how that kind of operate to give us a pretty accurate snapshot of people's energies and who they are. But the moon is about emotions. It has a strong connection to mothers, because mother is who has taken care of us, who has nurtured us. And therefore, the moon is where we find nourishment, where we find we are able to recharge or refuel our energies. The moon is the kind of immediate reaction you would have to a certain situation, being like, I like this, I don't like this, do I feel comfortable? Those are usually driven by the moon. Because it is about emotions, it's kind of tricky to work with when you don't know your moon sign and your kind of emotional pattern. Freud does have this idea of the id, the inner desire, but I think it doesn't exactly correspond to the moon. So the id is more like a primal, raw, and desires, very undisciplined and things. I think that's part of the moon, but the moon, I think, is also our gift, our emotional or sensitivity that could lead us to doing art, writing poetry, making films, singing, like any kind of creative activities you want to do in life that support you and nourish you. I think that comes from an understanding of your moon sign. And I think working with our moon sign is basically recognizing what we need and accepting that and giving ourselves allowance to be and to do what we want to do. The balance that needs to be found between neglecting the moon and also overemphasizing the moon. But I think it is a great kind of nudge on the side of everything you do, because we all do have that gut intuition and hunches that come from the moon. So next, I'll be talking about why meditation could go wrong or didn't work for each of the signs, and what are the ways to fix it. And I will start with the elements. And as I am a moon Taurus, I'm gonna start with the earth signs. So if your moon is in earth signs, which means Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, I think you guys are the easier ones to do meditation, because meditation is about that stillness, that groundedness that earth signs, moon earth signs have already got. And that's one of their biggest advantage. What could go wrong is that because earth signs sometimes focus on the task, material task, it could be an overemphasis on the form of meditation instead of the content and what actually happens inside of us. So there might be ideas of, like, for example, Virgo could be like, I think meditation should be this. And since I'm not doing that, I might be failing. Like, maybe there's one thought that comes up and Virgo might be like, oh my God, I'm failing at meditation again. And that is just not the case. For Taurus, I think might get distracted if your meditation cushions aren't comfortable, your legs are sore, or there are sounds around you. So I think it's a sensory kind of distraction that could happen for Taurus. And Capricorn, in its entrepreneurial spirit, might think of meditation as like, oh, I'm conquering my mind. And there's this kind of a fight that is happening, something that has to be achieved. So that also got Capricorn in the wrong direction. So for all earth signs, I'd say relax. This is meditation. There's no KPI that you need to fulfill to do meditations. Remind yourself that it is not about how things turn out to be, like the materiality of meditation, but how your internal landscape has changed. And there's no concrete, strict criteria that you can judge it by. So just, allow the process and give yourself time and space. My recommendation would be to count your breath. I think the action of counting is a grounding activity. If your mind kind of loses itself or you're overcritical of your thoughts, just count the breath. Also, you could burn incense for Taurus people to just help make you settle in that state of meditation. And for earth signs, I think just try building meditation into your day-to-day routine. And also, especially for Capricorn, kind of reward yourself for doing that routine because you like that sense of achievement. So make it a kind of a task that you need to do in daily life. And I think that would be really helpful. For the water signs, which are Moon Cancer, Moon Scorpio, Moon Pisces, my meditation might be a bit scary because of, the amount of emotions that might coming up. Maybe Cancer would be overtaken by memories of the past and find themselves very emotional over something in the past. Scorpio might be entangled in intense feelings, I guess. Maybe something that the one person said yesterday that didn't vibe with you and you were just kind of trying to unpack, but also getting more entangled in that space. And for Pisces, I think the problem might be you might fall asleep or you might just get distracted and start your daydreaming process, which is beautiful as well. But my suggestion for water signs are to take bath because you're water signs. So you can do meditation in a different form. You can take bath, let the water cleanse your body or emotions. And you can also do guided meditations with visualization, because you guys have very strong creative emotional abilities that if channeled into visualizing a scenario, I think that would help you focus. Or you can do mindful drawings and things. Also a way to release that intense emotions in you and direct it outside. And the third are the air signs. So Moon Gemini, Moon Libra, and Moon Aquarius. I think you guys are the classic third eye people. Your mind are just too active and it doesn't want to do meditation. So the Gemini, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury just corresponds to thinking, logic thinking. The problem for Gemini might be that you just have too many thoughts and you can't quiet your mind. And then you just have this somehow ended up in a fierce dialogue with yourself. And then you're thinking of, what I'm gonna do in 3 months and things like that. For Libra, I think you might get a bit bored when there's no companion. I think it might help if you go to like group meditation sessions where you can meditate with other people. And I think that would help that sense of needing to make connection, to have companionship. And Moon Aquarius maybe tend to intellectualize or analyze a bit too much. So it's different from Gemini, where you just have a lot of thoughts. Aquarius might be, I am meditating. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling like this? Why do I have that thought? What is this? So I think it's more a curiosity, which is advantage for Aquarius, that might distract you from settling down in meditation. So my suggestion for moon air signs are to maybe use mantras when you meditate. So there are a lot of different mantras in the world. If you go search online, and one of the most common one that I've heard, the modern one, is like inhale, let, exhale, go. And you just repeat that let go in your mind, let go. Or you can play some sound. I think sound would be really helpful to direct your energy. And also maybe try journaling. And a similar advice to the water signs. Journaling could be really helpful. A mindful process where you just put your emotions out there and being in the process of writing. Or you could journal first and then go to meditation, and then you will feel lighter, I'd say, because you've gotten all those thoughts out a little bit. But no pressure, it's fine, you're air sign. So it's natural if your mind just talks a little bit more. And last but not least are the fire signs. So if you're Moon Aries, Moon Leo, or Moon Sagittarius, you might just find meditation too boring because you're doing nothing and you're not moving. For Aries, it might be you might just have an impulse to do something that you thought of right now, that you don't want to sit still for too long. And for Leo, I think, you might just be not fun because you're by yourself, there's no one around, there's no action, no drama, nothing, and you're just sitting with yourself. That doesn't seem to be very cool most of the time for Leo. And for Moon Sagittarius, I think it's a little bit similar to Moon Aquarius. Moon Sag, they would like the idea of meditation more than the meditation. It's also a tendency to philosophize things instead of really feeling into it. So my advice are to do a bit of movement. Like you could do walking meditations or movement meditations. Do yoga. Yoga is moving meditations. For Moon Leo, I'd recommend making meditation into a little performance. Kind of in your mind, seeing yourself meditate and observing your own performance of meditation. So all that being said, I just want to encourage you all to find your own entry into meditation, because it might look very different for all of us. And again, it's about what happens inside, not about the form. As I also mentioned, there are many different techniques in meditation that could help in your practice, such as counting breath, visualization, body scan, focus on sensory, or sound meditation, or movement meditation. And I really encourage everyone to try out different guided meditations, because that would be really helpful and save you a lot of time to find your comfortable mode of meditations. And for me, why I do sound meditation is because if you have done sound healing, you go into an altered state where you literally are not thinking, and you go into that state between sleep and awake. And I wouldn't necessarily call it meditation. I felt like it's a little bit like cheating if you're saying that's meditation. But I think combining the sound with guided meditation could really help people relax their mind while also activate their kind of awareness. Again, meditation is a constant practice, and there's no other places that you have to go to. I think if you just practice for a week, you will already feel the benefits. And there's a saying that meditate 20 minutes a day. But if you're too busy, you have to meditate an hour a day. So I think that's an interesting invitation for us to rethink, what is our priorities? What do we mean when we say we don't have time? When meditation should be something where it's totally our own self-recharging time once you get it right. But still, I think there shouldn't be much pressure around having to do meditation, because that betrays its purpose. But just to commit yourself to doing it a little bit every day as a gesture of self-care and self-love. Inhale. Exhale. Wings of Wisdom with Freya. Thank you for listening, watching, and being here. I'm Freya, and this is Wings of Wisdom. Find more of my content on Substack, YouTube, Instagram, and my website. And take care. See you next time.